gave him to God.
She gave him to God?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I threw him in the lake, and I gave him to God.
Now, I was watching an attorney, and he said that she should have been read her Miranda rights, and therefore this confession is inadmissible.
And people are going to tell me I'm crazy, but he is real, and he loves you. He really does love you.
Here she's touching the police officer, and he's just standing there like really uncomfortable. And God is real, and God loves me. Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? This is so fucked up and disgusting. This is Ruth Miller. This is an Amish mother. She threw her 4-year-old son into the lake, and I haven't got his name yet, but she's going to say that he's sweet and she loves him, but she gave him to God. And then later on she's going to say that her husband, Marcus, is also in the lake somewhere. This happened in Ohio, and this is just so messed up.
He loves you. And I doubted him. I doubted him so many times, but I am to tell you he is coming soon. He is coming very soon. Prepare your hearts. The end is close. And I'm for sure supposed to tell you that he does love you. Okay?
Man, can you explain to me what happened? Who did you throw in the water?
I gave my son to God.
Your son?
Yes.
Where's your husband?
He went for a walk this morning.
And you haven't seen him
He
since?
didn't ever come back. And we went to the boat, and his clothes were there. And God told me he's in the lake, and a fish swallowed him. And you're actually supposed to go look for him in the bottom of the lake. And you will find the fish, and you will find my husband. And then you will believe.
And then you will believe. Why is she talking in parables right now? This is so insane. I do not believe this is a crazy person. I do not believe that this is a crazy woman. Even if you believed in God, what about Jesus' teaching says, throw your child into the lake, and then that'll be what he wants. Jesus says, turn the other cheek, love your enemies. He says, go through the little gate. He says, if you have hate in your heart, then, that's a sin. If you have lust in your heart, that's a sin. Jesus said to love. He said to love your neighbor as yourself, to love God with all your heart, and then to love your neighbor as yourself. So to love your neighbor, to love your child, you're supposed to love your child as yourself. Why would you throw your kid in the lake? Why wouldn't you throw yourself into the lake? If you loved yourself, loved him the same way you loved yourself. This is so fucked up, and I got a couple notes for some other similar cases. You had Susan Smith that did the same thing. She drowned her 2 kids in the car because she was trying to get with this guy, and the guy said he didn't want any kids around. So, clearly that means you gotta, drown your kids, right? So I think it's severely fucked up that we're going to be so nice. We're going to be so nice with this Ruth Miller. We're going to treat Ruth Miller, who just murdered a fucking 4-year-old, murdered a goddamn kid, her own kid, murdered her own kid. Now this also makes me think of 2 other cases, and that's where the notes come in. So Andrea Pia Yates, she had killed 5 of her kids, drowned them all in a bathtub in Houston, Texas, and that happened June 20th, 2001. And then Deanna Laney, she had smashed her kids' head with a rock. 8-year-old Joshua and 6-year-old Luke, and then tried to smash 14-month-year-old Aaron, his head in a rock while he was in a crib. They found him with a pillow over his face. He survived, but he had severe head trauma. So who knows what happened to 14-month-year-old Aaron. But both Andrea Pia Yates is going to be declared not guilty by reason of insanity. Both of them were declared not guilty by reason of insanity. Oh, give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. It is disgusting. It is warped. It is wicked. And you would think in general circumstances it is insane. They're living in an RV, so who knows what oppression, they're having capitalism. They're not making payments or whatever. And she knows what she did. She knows what she did, and how could she not see that what she did was wrong by the way that the 4-year-old was struggling threw him in the lake, and then what? His head kept bobbing up and down, drowning. So you fall into the lake, you eventually can't swim, and then you breathe in a bunch of water, and then water fills your lungs, and then that blocks airflow, and then eventually, I don't know how long it takes for a person to drown to death, but that's one of the most despicable ways to die. That's one of the most disgusting ways to die. So I can't believe we're treating, the lawyer had said that, oh, she didn't read her Miranda rights, so we're not going to admit any of this stuff into the, and then the fucking lawyer on it is like, well, clearly this is a case where, mental insanity. These motherfuckers, I swear to God, court is so fucking stupid. They need to hurry up and just put her behind bars forever, and then, put it in front of a jury and see if she should get the death penalty. And eye for an eye is justice, is it not? 4-year-old, I don't know the kid's name, and in order for people to give a damn, you gotta have a name, right? You gotta have a name, just knowing that it was a 4-year-old kid. When I think about Gaza and Palestine, how 680,000 people have been killed in Gaza, like, holy fucking shit, So Andrea Pia Yates, she had killed Paul, Luke, John, Mary, and Noah. Noah was 7 years old. Andrea Yates drowned them all in the bathtub. And she did them all, systematically. One day, the guy, Rusty, is going to go to work. He was a NASA engineer, a space engineer, made $80,000 a year. So he's doing well for himself. And Paul, Luke, John, Mary, and Noah, Andrea Yates is going to drown them all in the bathtub. First, she drowned Paul Yates, and then drowned Luke Yates, and then drowned John. And then she laid Paul, Luke, and John on the bed, on her bed. And then she drowned Mary, and she had left Mary floating in the bathtub, and that's when Noah comes into the bathroom and asks what's wrong with Mary, and then because of the response, or maybe he just figured it out on his own, Noah, the 7-year-old, who was the oldest, so they're all less than 7 years of age, starts to run, and Andrea's, chasing Noah all across the house, and then eventually catches him and drowns him next to Mary's dead body. And then she leaves Noah floating in the tub. She puts Mary in John's arms. And then she calls 911 and she says, it's done. It's over with. It's time. Or some shit. Is one of your kids injured? Yeah, they're all injured. She locked the dog up in the cage so that way she could drown them without the dog causing a commotion. She waited till her husband had left work. And because she was declared not guilty by reason of insanity, there was 2 trials. One, she was convicted and was supposed to serve life in prison 40 years later to get a parole. But then one of the psychiatrists had falsely testified about something, so there was another retrial. And the retrial allowed her to be not guilty by reason of insanity. So where is Andrea Yates, the sick psychopath who drowned 5 of her own fucking kids? I thought women are supposed to be sugar and spice and everything nice. A lot of times, you put your morality on them, you project your morality on them, and they say that that's your better half. So, oh, she's sweet and kind, and she's got compassion and empathy, and, she's a woman, so clearly she's all about love. So, this is shocking. She's going to be put into a low-security mental hospital. That's what happened with Andrea Yates. Not guilty by reason of insanity? Who the fuck could believe something like that? I could understand maybe a jury not wanting to push for capital punishment, but my fucking God, can you get any more fucking sick? Can you get any more worse? What is the red line? What can this person not do? They could drown their own innocent kids in a bathtub. Andrea Yates had a 90-minute taped confession, which people said was harrowing. She drowned Noah. She chased Noah. 7 years old. He knew what was going on. He paid it. He ran. He knew that there was something crazy. Should have ran out of the house. Went to the neighbor's house or some shit. Drowned him next to the dead body of Mary. And then Deanna Laney. I don't know the year or date or where this was at. Andrea Yates was in Houston, Texas. Ruth Miller was in Ohio. Deanna Laney is going to smash her kid's head with a rock. Took Joshua out into the yard, hit him with a rock. Did the same thing with Luke. 8-year-old Joshua, 6-year-old Luke. smashed her head with a rock. And then 14-month-old baby, Aaron? 14-month-old baby? What the fuck? That's some fucking sick fucking shit. A lot of people are talking about this Charlie Kirk assassination, and it was Tyler Robinson, it seems like. That's the official narrative, at least. And then people are saying, you know, even though Charlie Kirk liked to point out that minorities are the problem, they're saying, well, white men are doing, you know, a lot of dastardly deeds. A lot of times the shootings are a white man. White women aren't much better. I mean, you have Andrea Yates, who drowned 5 of her own kids. Deanna Laney, who smashed 3 of her kids' heads with a rock, killed 2 of them, and then made one of them mentally incapacitated forever. And you know what happened to Deanna Laney? What happened to Deanna Laney was she was declared not guilty by reason of insanity, and they put her into a mental ward for 8 years. And she was released many years ago. So Deanna Laney is free out in this world. She's got some restrictions. She's got to take drugs or something, and she's not allowed to go here or there. But, what? What? Killed your own fucking kids? You smashed their head with a rock, systematically drowned one after another? You know, if there was a heat of rage in the moment, you know, maybe you could pull a trigger, but to systematically kill one with the rock, kill another with the rock, kill a baby with the rock, and then the 5 kids that were drowned? So Ruth Miller, this whole thing is crazy. Do we want to watch any of this anymore? I don't really.
But ye of your little faith that did not believe before seeing.
But he of little faith that did not believe before seeing. What are you trying to say with that? You're not saying anything at all. Like you're just talking. You're just talking. You're not saying a goddamn thing. You're supposed to believe without seeing God. Is that what you're saying? You're supposed to have faith? This is fucked up. This is a psycho. This isn't a person. You know, I wondered about the insanity defense. Can you just be like, you know, but Your Honor, she's a psychopath. She's devoid of all empathy. She's a socio-psychopath. She's a nihilist, narcissist. She only cares about her and herself. She doesn't put herself in other people's shoes. She didn't do that whole Jesus thing of, you know, loving the other people like you love yourself. The golden rule, she threw the golden rule out into the... Where did Jesus ever say anything about drowning the kids? If anything, they were trying to shoo the kids away, and he was like, no, the kids can come talk to me. I will talk to the children. He was saying that they were like angels or something. So there's so many things that Jesus said that was awesome and revolutionary. And so for people to get his message so mixed up and messed up and being like, well, I threw my son into the lake to give him to God, you know, I did him a favor. That's what I did. I did him a favor. Are you stupid? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? He's in heaven dancing with the angels now. We don't even know his name. So in terms of him ascending into heaven like he's going to live on forever, like Charlie Kirk gets a big old vigil. Meanwhile, what happened to this 4-year-old? Does this 4-year-old, do we all rally together? Do we say, no, this person needs to serve justice? They need to be thrown into the prison, throw away the key? This is a sick motherfucker. This is a sick motherfucker. And if I was, you know, listening to all this shit, it would be hard to fucking just stand there and listen to all this shit. And then some lawyer would be like, well, you didn't Mirandize her, so you're going to have to throw that confession right the fuck out. Are you kidding? She told you the truth. In order to get objective justice, you need to know the objective truth. And there is one part of this. So apparently there's a family. There's she's the wife, and then the husband, Marcus, and then you got 4 kids. 3 of them are teenagers, and one of them's a 4-year-old. And then she said that she was looking for the husband, saw his clothes there. He's going to be found drowned later on. They were doing some sort of experiment where they were just swimming as long as they could in the lake, not caring what had happened, going into the deep end and just saying we're giving it to God, whatever God, we'll let God determine what had happened. So they're kind of doing this fucked up experiment, and they're saying that it's in the name of Christianity or some shit. But then she takes the 4-year-old, throws him into the lake. He drowns, so she watches him suffer and, flip around in the water, splash in the water and suffer and until eventually, succumbs to drowning. And then she has her 3 teenagers on a golf cart, and then she's driving onto the dock and then drives the thing into the dock. But the teenagers were able to jump off of the golf cart. And then that's when the cops are called, because it was like they just drove with the golf cart into the lake. Like, what the hell was that about? So there's just so much weird speculation. People just make up bullshit. It is crazy to kill your own kid. That is a crazy fucking thing to do. But being that you're a human, you are just as capable of evil. You could do evil or good at any moment in time, right? So you could choose evil, you could choose goodness. If you're choosing goodness, well, let's just say we're going to go for a perfect family. Well, what can you do for a perfect family? Well, you could have, nice family dinners. You could let each one of the kids choose which restaurant they want to go eat at. You could have one of them cook. You could have, let's see, how can we make a perfect family? Let's come up with a list of what we could do to make a perfect family. We could just designate one to say what the rest of the family is going to do all day. You could have Bible reading. There's a nice Christian thing to do. Just sit around reading the Bible to each other. One reads, the other ones listen. They analyze what they had read, and then they make sense of the damn thing. You could do that. You could do Bible readings. You could do some sort of scavenger hunt. You could just go hiking, right? You could just go for a nice walk in the park. You could go walk in the subdivisions. Go for a nice little walk. Go for a nice little stroll. And if they had a golf cart, well, hell, they could just, ride around the golf cart. Hit some golf balls. That seems okay. All those things that would perfect the family. In order to accomplish a virtue, you got to have action steps, just like any other goal. So we're trying to perfect the family. In order to perfect the family, well, these are the things that we're going to do in order to perfect the family. These are all things that she could have done. But instead, she goes to the lake, sees that the husband's clothes are there, doesn't see the husband, so she probably thinks that the husband's drowned and dead, and so maybe she's distraught that the thing had happened. But this was conscious, this was deliberate, gets the 4-year-old, takes the 4-year-old there, so a lot of times there's, is there intent? Is there malicious intent? Was there deliberation? Was it the heat of the moment? Was it negligent? It's not negligent. It's not second degree. She deliberated. She thought about it. This was, planned out. Not the most sophisticated plan, but the 4-year-old, she got away with throwing him into the lake, and that was given to God. And then the other 3. So even if she's distraught that her husband probably swam across the lake and then got to the middle or whatever and then couldn't swim no more and then fell in, so she deduced. She was able to logically deduce that something had happened to her husband. She thinks it was just a fish, that swallowed him up or some shit. Yeah, or maybe he just got tired and couldn't, swim no more. But she logically deduced that he was dead, and then since she had logically deduced that he was dead, well, shit, I guess I've got to throw my 4-year-old into the lake, because that's clearly how people grieve, right? I'm not going to let her get away with just being not guilty by reason of insanity. Wickedness is fucking crazy, because a lot of people, if you got a good life, then why would you do something wicked? But maybe there's marital problems, maybe just living in the RV, maybe capitalism, you didn't have all the comforts of you're Amish, that's another fucking thing. Amish are notorious for being child abusers. So I think it's bullshit how they're handling Ruth Miller with kid gloves. They're going to have a little prayer with her at first. She didn't want to get into the squad car, and they held her hand and had a little prayer with her and some other shit, just basically slowly but surely. You're going to get arrested, you're going to get charged, but, because she's not being violent and crazy, she's saying all this stuff matter-of-factly. Oh, what happened to, was it Paul, Luke, John, Mary, Noah, Joshua, Luke, Aaron? These are the other kids that were, drowned and hit with the head with a rock. I don't think we should allow Ruth Miller to get away with goddamn motherfucking not guilty by reason of insanity. You knew what you was doing. You knew that life is precious. You did it intentionally. This wasn't God's God didn't choose for your 4-year-old to die. You did it. You chose for your 4-year-old to die. Now, your husband, maybe he just had an accident, thought he could swim across the lake, and then, he couldn't. He wasn't able to do so. So, he made his choice, but you made the choice to murder your own 4-year-old kid. I don't give a damn, the fact that she's a Caucasian woman. Even with Abraham Lincoln, there was, his assassination. They hung, 7 or so of his the assassins and the conspirators. Or 4, I think. Well, whatever. But there was one, Mary Surratt, and people were saying that, oh, you're a woman killer to the damn Andrew Johnson or whatever, as if like that's what he is. He's a woman killer. It wasn't that the woman had fucking conspired to kill the fucking president of the United States and therefore she got her just desserts. I just read The Three Musketeers, and The Three Musketeers is fantastic. Oh my god, it is so good. I can't believe how good it was. But Milady was one of the evil's characters ever. Let's see. We'll let this run for another 10 seconds.
So send people down to the bottom of the lake looking for a fish.
How old's your son that's in the lake?
4. He's sweet. I love him. I do.
Okay.
She's sweet, and I love him, but I gave him to God. Oh, okay. Fucking awesome. That's fucking, you're a sick motherfucker. You're a sick motherfucker. And the fact that she's, acting this way, she's not showing any remorse. She's not sad that her son is dead and gone and is never going to come back. He's not up in heaven singing with the fucking angels. No, you murdered him. You fucking murdered him. And why should we allow her to get away with it? Because of she's got a vagina? Woman, man, so, I guess women in general, could be nicer than man, but woman, you are a man. You are a man. You can operate a vehicle. You can get a job. You can get into politics. You can vote. You can do all the things that a man can do. You can, ride a tractor, drive a tractor, split wood. You could do, whatever a man could do, you could do. He's a little bit stronger than you, but you are just as capable of doing good as you are doing evil as a man could do. I don't see why we would say, well, because, she's a Caucasian and she's got a vagina. So, since she's a Caucasian with a vagina, you're allowed to go ahead and drown your own kids in the bathtub. You're allowed to take a damn rock and smash them over the head. You're allowed to take the 2 kids and put them into the lake because who gives a shit? I give a shit. Justice is eye for an eye. You drowned your 4-year-old son. You should never get out of jail. You should serve many, many, many years in jail. And justice is eye for an eye. So if I was a prosecutor, I would push for, capital punishment. I would push for life in prison and capital punishment. I don't know how Ohio laws are. But, 20 years, 30 years, I mean, how many years, I mean, not only is it a murder, but it's a murder of your own kid. As a society, as a deterrent, you can't just kill your own fucking kid. Nobody's paying attention, nobody's watching you, so you think you could just fucking murder this goddamn kid while no, fuck you, that's bullshit. We trusted that you were going to take care of your own kid because that's your kid. You're supposed to love them. You're supposed to care about them. And because we turned our back and allowed her to make her own decisions and her own choices, she went ahead and killed the fucking kid. And then she's sitting there talking about it's in the name of God and Jesus and what the fuck else ever.
7940 Central. We're out with the mother.
I don't even know what they're blurring at.
Her 4-year-old son in the lake to give him to God.
Hola, este es Daniel y esa es la razón por que he elegido Vato. Estoy planeando el futuro que quiero para mí y una pastilla con 2 medicinas.
Let's see if she says anything else. I'll give it 10 seconds. You should really believe because he loves you.
They are there.
Okay, so she's a total lunatic and she should be put behind bars forever and ever. So I don't know why we're going to grade her on a curve. I don't know if a man did that, right? There was that case in Colorado where the guy took an axe and he killed his kids and killed. I mean, god damn it, there was a fucking goddamn thing in Washington. What was that guy's name? Travis Decker. They said that he killed his 3 daughters, suffocated them, put a goddamn a plastic bag over their heads. That's against nature. It's against God. It's against society. It's against civilization. What fucking good is it for parents to murder their own fucking kids? And as people trying to say, by giving these motherfuckers such a lenient and lax sentence, by not, condemning them the way that they should be condemned, are you trying to say that it's like, okay, it's alright for them to do that? I brought you into the world so I could take you out kind of shit? In the Three Musketeers, you had this woman named Milady, and Milady was the chief spy for the Cardinal Richelieu. And you had D'Artagnan, you had Aramis, and Athos, and Pathos, whatever. So you had the Three Musketeers and D'Artagnan. And a whole bunch of things had happened. But eventually, Milady's going to get her just desserts. But there was this one scene where Milady is essentially caught. She pulls out a gun. She's going to murder the Duke of Buckingham. That's what she was going to do. She's going to do it for the Cardinal Richelieu. And she was going to murder the Duke of Buckingham. She pulls out a pistol, but they're able to arrest her and put her in jail. Now, the Duke of Buckingham puts one of his most trusted advisors as a jailer to watch over her as she's in jail. And it only took a couple of days, but she's pretending to be devout. She's sitting there praying and weeping, and then he's kind of, slowly but surely, he gets enthralled with her. So he's like, oh, wow, you're religious, right? And then, first it was sadness, and then it was pity. And then, when they had a little conversation, she started saying, well, you don't understand what the Duke of Buckingham did for, he kidnapped me, and I was just a pure young woman, and he took me away from my family, and then he dishonored me. He dishonored me. He disgraced me. Dishonored me. And so the guard, the prison guard, the fucking jailer, was so smitten by Milady, he goes into a vengeful rage, lets Milady out, lets her go to the boat, and then goes with a fucking goddamn dagger with a knife and stabs and kills Duke of Buckingham later on in some other place. When he's getting arrested, he looks over to the harbor and he sees that Milady's boat is already setting sail. She didn't wait for him. Then she poisoned some other woman. And ended up killing her. And some other shit. She stole some treasures out of the church and then screwed over the brother, and the one guy goes to jail, and then he was released, or he ran away, and they put the brother in the place of the other brother. And then when he found out that his brother was sitting in jail because of his actions, the priest, he takes his own life. So, they accused Milady of 5 murders. She killed 5 people. And then they had her beheaded. After you killed 5 people, 5 murders, like, why were you so revengeful? Why did you need to poison, the people? Why did you need to... Oh, my God. But just that one scene, how if you're in jail, to think that you could win the jailer over, get him to fall in love with you, so much so, they didn't even say that they kissed or did any kind of romantic anything, he held her. He held her in his arms. So that's all it took. He just held her in his arms. Listened to her lies. She pledged to love him forever. Thought that he was going to murder the Duke of Buckingham and they were going to sail out into the sunset and live happily ever after as husband and wife in some sort of cottage. That's nuts. That's fucking crazy. Convinced the jailer to let the prisoner escape after they just tried to murder the Duke of Buckingham. And then you went ahead with the dagger and did it yourself. And you stabbed him in front of all of his people, so you got arrested. Holy fuck. I mean, that's some power. That's a power of a woman. So if a woman wants to be as conniving and lying and wants to revenge and hurt people and keep on hurting people, nobody's going to stand up and say a goddamn word. And even if you do want to blame, white men for the shootings, because, you should blame the person that did the damn thing. But that person came from, a white mother and a white father. So I guess just with the whole Tyler Robinson thing, yeah, it was a white man that did it. But it was a white woman that just killed her own 4-year-old kid right here. And who the fuck remembers this, 4-year-old kid? Who has vigils, who talks about this kid? I'm sure you won't be able to misquote him, and he's not out there spreading a bunch of hatred. Paul, Luke, John, Mary, and Noah, Joshua, Luke, and Aaron, I guarantee you all those kids are better than this Kirk in terms of legacy. Nobody ever had to say to Mr. Rogers, quoted him out of context. Hey, you're just quoting Mr. Rogers out of context. He didn't. Will you be my neighbor? He loves you. Oh, okay, thank you. Keeps on putting her hands on, the guys. Get your fucking hands off me. Put your hands behind your back. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court will provide one for you. And then actually, the Miranda rights, there's Vega v. Toca. So the Miranda rights aren't even actionable. So I don't even know if Miranda is still even being used anymore. I don't know if the Supreme Court recognizes Miranda as being something that you have to do. But what a dumb fucking technicality. Did she drown her son? Yes. But she was a psychopath, so she's insane. And the police officer that got the confession out of her did not read her Miranda rights. So let her go. Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break.